There we go. And we're recording live.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by. Our guest today is the founder of Refuel Health and Wellness, a life coach, personal trainer, and certified meditation teacher. She is passionate about helping others gain inner peace, self-confidence, and clarity to find purpose in their lives. Please welcome Hayley Winter. Hey, Hayley, how are you doing today?
Hi, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here speaking with you guys on this beautiful Friday morning.
It's gorgeous.
Absolutely.
It's gorgeous out there. I know. It's like we're in kind of a mythical land. Like you can see all the I don't know, it's not pollen, it's those little, the dandelion things floating through the air. It's something that you see in a movie.
It's like it's snowing, but it's nice and warm. So that's
good. And the birds. Have you heard the birds lately?
The birds, I know. It
Definitely.
seems it's almost like since COVID hit this spring, there's more birds than there ever was.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even have to set an alarm clock because I have a bird that sits outside my bedroom window and starts chirping away at 5:20 every morning.
Yeah, I think he flies over here right after that because he's hitting us about 5:30.
The neighborhood rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the bears are coming out too. The bears are popping out, and my wife and I, Reiko, we lived at Whistler for the last year, pretty much during COVID, and we never actually spent so much time in a place like that. And there were more bears than humans because there was nobody around. It was like a ghost town.
Wow.
And we'd walk out and we'd see 5 or 6 bears a day. Like it was insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So we're now in spring again. So there's that point where it's all everything's coming alive. So it's really cool to have somebody like yourself on our show here, which helps, kind of refuel people coming out of, we've all had, a really interesting and difficult, some people had a really, really difficult, other people have really thrived during COVID. So there's this really weird kind of balance between the two. So with what you do, refuel and health and whatnot, it's really nice to have somebody like you on our show to help. We can talk about this. So actually, that's just something that just hit me right now. So we are hopefully on, getting on the crest and kind of getting out of this. So what are your feelings of what's, what people are like, what they may have been through, and some little tips and things to kind of regenerate ourselves for the new humans that we're going to be, because we've all evolved and we've all changed somewhat during COVID. Yeah.
So I think initially, when we think back to the start of, the pandemic early last year, I think there was this great sense of fear and just the unknown of what the world's going to look like.
Yeah.
And then everybody's sort of got, they've got their feet planted again. They found different ways of doing things. Perhaps if, their work situations changed, they were able to sort of pivot and find a new way to do things. And I think that's been one thing that's really positive that's come out of this. Mm-hmm. Perhaps people have become a little bit more in tune with what it is that they're really passionate about in their life.
Yeah.
And what's working and what's not, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of the families that I've been working with have, spoken about the fact that they've had more time together.
Yes. Like Devin and I.
24/7. Because people aren't necessarily having to travel into offices, right? So they've been able to work from home, which has been, there are many positives that have come out of this as well.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I think that the majority of what we see in the media is more negatively skewed.
Yeah.
And, I really like to remind my clients and the people that I work with to focus on the positives as well, because we have a choice, right, with what we choose to focus on. We can focus on the things that aren't working, or we can focus on those things that really do work for us in our life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have a really good friend that's a shaman, a Peruvian shaman. His name is Jamie Alvarez, and he's actually going to be on our show in a couple of weeks.
Amazing.
And we've had a few sessions, Zoom sessions with him over the pandemic. And he always said, we have during this period in time to kind of step back and then kind of appreciate the quiet. And there's power in the quiet. And I mean, I've really personally found that invigorating. And Devin too, the things that you've been creating and doing is been kind of mind boggling during this period. Hey, Dev, for
Yeah,
yourself
definitely.
too.
No, it's time for self-reflection and a lot of growth for, I think, a lot of people, and operating people's businesses differently, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure in your workplace, there's a lot of different things, a lot of different protocols you had to take at the beginning, but then some of them are benefiting you in the long run, right? So I know for me, at least, and being an actor and an artist and all these other things in our performance company, it's like I used to have to go downtown and meet a certain time to go into an audition. Well, now I can just film the audition and send it in. If they like it, then I can go in for maybe another take. So it just alleviates all that time that they had to book people in. Everybody has to come. Everybody's got to stand in a line. They just get all the auditions. They get to look at them. So I was wondering, what are some of the things that have impacted your workplace and some of the things that potentially benefited your workplace? in
Yeah, so
different ways?
initially there was quite an impact on my business. However, once again, it's what you choose to focus on and really creating a strong vision for yourself and what you want to achieve in your life, I think is really important. So when I fast forward, to where we are today,
Yeah.
I'm doing things that I never even imagined possible, a year and a half ago. And I'm actually facilitating workshops for North Shore Neighborhood House right now.
Oh yeah, they're great,
Yeah,
great
which is
organization.
amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm working with an incredible group of youth, grades 4 to 7. And
Mhm.
then I'm also working on the flip side with a number of the seniors in our community. And, both of those are totally different demographics with similar challenges that they have faced over the past year, isolation being one of the major challenges. And then
Mhm.
with children, I'm really noticing that there has been a dramatic increase in stress and anxiety. Well,
Yeah.
with adults as well. But the kids' help phone saw a 350% increase in call volume last year.
Mm.
And this is something that I am really, really determined to make a difference in, is particularly with positive mental health. It's amazing how many people don't think that they're worth it, and
Mm.
they don't see the positives and who they are. And I personally believe that we all bring different gifts into this world, and each of us are unique, and it would be a really strange and boring place if we were all the same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really taking those gifts and those strengths and sharing those with other people. And
Mhm.
when we can open the dialogue and see things a little bit differently, where it's not competition, but in fact, it's actually working together to elevate and raise the consciousness of the planet and make a difference to one another in a really impactful way, I think is so important.
Yeah, that's just really cool. The consciousness of the planet and the power of nature.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about getting out in nature during this time. And I mean, I'm fortunate, and we're really fortunate to live where we do because nature's in our back door,
Yes.
and we do spend a lot of time out there. And I know that you have retreats, right? So you hold retreats. I saw you have a women's
Yes.
retreats. And
Yes.
were you on an island? What island was that? An island?
That was
Beautiful.
Bowen Island.
Well, that was Bowen.
Yes.
Oh,
I love Bowen.
we have a lot. We have too many friends on Bowen. Yeah,
Oh, I love Bowen.
it's a great place. That's really so. During this period, so you were holding your retreats. So what were you doing? Because you couldn't really take people away on these retreats anymore, right? So.
No,
Mm,
so in January, I actually facilitated a retreat with 26 women, and
mhm.
then I facilitated another one in October. Now that was before the mandatory mask protocols came into place, and I had to limit that one to 12 women. So at the moment, the retreats are a little bit on hold
Right.
until probably next year,
Mhm.
realistically.
Mhm.
But I am still being able to have the same impact with inspiring other people through the workshops and the one-on-one coaching.
Right. So you're doing one. So you're an interesting blend because I've worked with coaches for many years. I've had I've had business coaches. I got to a point where I had a business coach, and then the business coach, I would go out for breakfast. I call him up and I'd go for breakfast. And it got to a point I was talking more personal stuff than business stuff. And he said,
Mhm.
Nigel, I can't help you anymore. Try this guy. So I ended up hiring this gentleman, or this guy called Kevin Lawrence. And I've been working with him for 15 years. And, it was business. And then it was kind of, the older I got, the more it got into the personal, I call it life rhythm, not a life balance, because life balance, I always feel like you're kind of trying to give up one for
Yes.
the other, where you get into a flow and you get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
And so what you're doing, I think, is really cool, because you have kind of that unique blend, of, from your meditation to really helping the people with what's important. And that's what's going on in here. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And you know
Yeah.
what? We forget sometimes that this very present moment, right now, me speaking with you, you speaking with me, this is all we really have in life.
Yes.
Yesterday, that's been and gone and that's done. The future is not guaranteed for any of us. So
Mhm.
the more present awareness we can bring into our life, I truly believe that the more expansion we get, meaning we actually are able to expand our consciousness, number one, and expand time, which seems like a really strange concept. But for me, taking that time to be really mindful and noticing, being present in life. Like, I often say in my workshops to parents, when you're watching your children play sports, are you really watching them play sports, or are you thinking about what you need to do for your grocery shopping or make for dinner, or a conversation that you had that didn't go so well yesterday?
Yeah.
Right. So it's really being present. And and it's a skill. It's it requires daily creating that daily conscious habit for yourself.
Yeah.
And the more that you can practice a new skill, as we know, the better you'll become at it. And it's not something that you want to accomplish per se, but it is something that when you can be more mindful, I believe you get more gratitude in your life, right? And you look at yourself from a standpoint of, gee, you know what? I really do matter. And here's how I want to make a difference in this world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
How many thoughts do you think we have a day?
Oh.
I know. This is a tough one.
Too many. That's I mean, you hit the nail on the head
Like-
here when we were talking about, I don't know, I'd say 500,000 or something, or
Oh
I don't
gosh,
know,
that's a lot.
20,000, 50, 20.
Okay, so the researchers don't really know, but the National Science Foundation have done an experiment, and they say between 12 and 60,000, which is obviously a pretty large range.
Right.
So my next question to you is, what percentage of our thoughts per day are negative?
Ooh, I think I know what the
Oh,
answer to
that's
that
a
is.
good one.
It's going to be probably 75% of them or something.
Yeah, it's got to be something pretty high for sure. Yeah, 70-80%. More than
Well,
good
you
ones.
guys are close, 80%.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So now here's another one for you.
Yeah.
I know it's just really racking your brain early in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good.
Now,
Good. Wakes you up.
Yeah.
what percentage of our thoughts are the same repetitive thoughts as the day before?
Oh,
I know, this is a good one.
that is really good. It's got to be.
That's got to be high too.
Yeah, I think so.
More than,
I think
it's got to be more than half.
Yeah, I think it's more than half.
Probably that negative 80 range.
I'd say 70%.
70%. Devin, you're saying 80?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. It's 95%.
No!
Yes.
New thoughts. Think new thoughts.
Oh
What are we
my
doing?
gosh.
But with conscious awareness, right, we can be more aware of our thought processes. And like I said earlier, we have that choice of what we want to focus on, whether it's something that's negative, right, that fixed mindset, or a growth mindset where it's more positive. So we can actually change the neuroplasticity in our brain, meaning that we can rewire our brain. So the more, what they say is neurons that fire together wire together, right? So if
Yes.
we create that thought process of focusing on positive things in our life, we actually help those neurons, those positive neurons, fire together.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
it's
wicked.
really amazing.
Well, I've heard, because I'm fortunate. I go to this conclave at MIT in Boston every year. It's all entrepreneurs, and we've had speakers come in. And the older we've become, we're all in our 40s, 50s, 60s. It's moved from business to this personal development. And there was a personal development lady that came in that talked about the brain. She was an expert on the brain. She said exactly that. But we were talking about, stepping outside of your comfort zone. When you push yourself outside of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
that's the place where nobody wants to be. Everybody's kind of freaked out. I don't want to be there, but we operate so well in that zone. And then the more we push ourselves outside of our comfort zone, our brain actually rewires, like you said, and you're able to adapt to more difficult situations each time you do that. And your brain
Yes.
rewires and rewires and it recalibrates, and it allows you to be able to do more difficult things. And so it's exactly the same thing. Isn't that incredible?
And it's interesting that you bring that up, Nigel, because one of the benefits of actually meditating
Yes.
is that we're able to be more proactive versus reactive. And they've actually proven that in situations with youth, in situations where kids are being bullied, children that meditate on a regular basis are able to take a step back instead of reacting, right? They're able to step away from the situation and be proactive and stand in their power, which I think is such an important learning tool, especially for the younger generations.
Right. Oh my gosh. That's because I know because I've started meditating and breathing, breath work.
Yes.
And I, like you said, I have, you get in and you're into your meditation, and then you start drifting out here. And like you said, it's the same thought that I may have been thinking yesterday about some issue that I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And then you try and smack yourself and you bring it back to center. And it's that same repetitive, it's crazy, but when you get into that zone, when you get in that sweet spot, it's magic. And Devin, I was having some anxiety issues. The older I'm getting, these anxiety issues were coming out that I'd never had before, and it was really, really brutal. My body would just shut down. I'd be looking through everything was, and my breath, my heart would start so Devin had been studying a little bit of kind of meditative breathing, and also the Wim Hof method with the ice baths and the breathing. And he sat me down and he had me doing these breathing exercises. And this is about a year ago. Hey, Dev, I think
probably
coming up to a year ago. And it's really helped me. The breath work, the meditation, and the cold. You can do the cold plunges if you want. Devin and I and Reiko, we all do it every day. Every day we do our cold plunges. The crazy thing now is the water's getting too warm.
Gotta get a barrel and fill
it's 62 degrees. Yeah, we were busting. We have a pool out here, so we're breaking the ice with a hockey stick in the winter. Going down to Lynn Canyon in November, and but I found that that just zeroed me right out, and the most incredible. So with the breath work and it would help me focus, because I had the monkey mind. It was bouncing all over.
Yes,
but
exactly.
with the breath work, it helped me focus, and the cold plunging really helps you focus. And I would come out totally rejuvenated.
Yes.
Totally. Right. And Dev's been doing it. So what kind of effect has it had on you, Dev? It's been.
Yeah, for sure. So I know for me, I have a very busy mind, a little bit ADD, but dyslexic, and just always thinking tons of things, trying to, paint stuff or be super wild. I could never really meditate. I could never really just sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to take, even 10 minutes out of my day and sit down and meditate. Didn't happen for me. So two things that I found, I started doing flow arts, juggling and stuff. And I realized, okay, I'm just focusing on juggling. That's all I'm doing. I'm not thinking about what I'm doing after this, because you have to concentrate. But that was still working something. I was still trying to work on a skill. Right. So then I found Wim Hof method. I found the breathing, and the breathing would really calm me down. I was like, okay, that's nice. And then the cold plunges. And I realized once you go in the water, and I've said this before, all you can think about is how cold the water is. So you're sitting there, you got no other thoughts in your brain except for, I'm freezing. And then you break that kind of a minute to 2 minute mark, and then your body kind of adapts to the cold pretty much no matter how cold it is. It kind of adapts after a certain point. And then I got to a point where I'm not thinking about how cold I am, but I'm also not thinking about anything else, but just sitting here and being one with the water, being
Yes.
one with the universe, being one with nature. So
Yeah.
it really helped in so many ways, and all the health benefits, but definitely mental and physical.
That's awesome. So
Mhm.
what a lot of people think meditation is to really control our thoughts, right?
Mm.
But what meditation really is about is to stop letting our thoughts control us.
Aha.
And
Okay.
when you think about it, unless you're consciously aware of it, your thoughts control every second of your day.
Totally.
Yeah.
And when we're awake, we're constantly analyzing and we're judging and we're assessing, and then at nighttime we're dreaming. So our mind actually gets very little downtime. So
Right.
meditation is allowing us that opportunity. There are hundreds of different types of meditation, to be honest, but it allows you that opportunity to create that space. And I sort of say, let your mind just breathe, right? Just be. Yeah.
Wow. So
Wow.
I think what people want to know, so through like meditation or like, living in the moment, changing your thought patterns, what got you down this path? What was the spark that drove you to be like, this is what I want to do. I want as many people to help people to like, find their consciousness or their, help
Yeah.
their minds.
And I'm really happy you asked that, Devin, because I have personally experienced that. I call it the rabbit hole, the darkness, right? And the stress and anxiety. So when I meet with clients, I know exactly what they're talking about. Maybe the situation's different, but I know that feeling. And at the end of the day, it is an ultra crappy place to be.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be living in that with that dark shadow, following them around all day. So it's kind of twofold. So one was that. So I've been a single mom for the last 8 years. And when I was married and when my son was 18 months old, we separated.
Oh.
And my family are all on the other side of the world in New Zealand. So I had very little support. It was an incredibly challenging time. And not long after we separated, I was diagnosed with melanoma, which is a very aggressive form of skin cancer.
Yeah.
So here I was sitting there going, oh my goodness, like, how could this be? Seriously. Like, I have such a young child. There's no way I'm leaving this earth. I'm not ready. So anyway, I was lucky that it was caught early enough. And everything's fine. But it was really through those dark, challenging times that I really got curious about mindfulness and meditation, positive mindset, the result of all of these things on our psychology. And it's interesting because I'm actually going back to school again in August. I'm going to be studying and working full time. So I've sat my son down and I'm like, we got to do this as a team, bud.
Yeah.
And I'm going to become a registered counselor, just to sort of add another dimension to my learning, right? I always believe in learning and becoming better so that I can bring more to my clients.
Right.
Of course.
So there was that side, Devin. And then there was the other side where I was, I started personal training clients years ago, and I was noticing a bit of a disconnect. So you could be physically really strong and healthy, but mentally, and that's something that nobody really sees, right?
Yes.
How are people really doing? And when I started having discussions with people, they would open up and they weren't doing so great, but they looked great on the outside. So I wanted to bring that balance of mind, body, and soul to all of the people that I work with, which is, what I do in my workshops as well. It's the physical body, it's our temple that we live in, plus it's the mental, emotional side, and really being authentic to who we are and connected.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's a great, holy smokes. So do you, like some techniques, I guess, I don't know if we can, some principles or techniques that you follow, that some tips?
So whenever people are feeling, stressed and anxious, first of all, I want them to know that they aren't alone. And actually by age 40, 50% of the population are either experiencing or will experience a mental health disorder.
Wow.
So it's not uncommon, and it's certainly something that we are getting better at talking about. However, are we really providing people with tools, right? It's great
Mhm.
talking about it, but how do we cope better, right?
Yeah. I found just with myself, like I said, that, when I was young, it was all go, 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 starting this business and raising a young family and just go, 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 go. And then when I got older, these things started happening to me. I would have numbness in my side of my face, down my arm, down part of
Mm.
my leg. And I thought, oh my God, I'm having a stroke. So I had a CAT scan done on my brain. Nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you. Right. So then I had these anxiety and these panic attacks, and it was all in my later life. And it was almost like PTSD. Like it was like all this, I had this bit of a trauma in my family and things like that. And it just, these things started bubbling out, popping out.
Mm.
And I couldn't explain it. So, and I was doing, and for myself and also my sister Sue's had some, we have the similar body type. We have the same numbness. We have all the same stuff. And so what we would do in our early years is we would go for the adventure and the adrenaline to we'd get away, because our business, she was in my business for 4 years, and it was really, really tough. So in order to escape that craziness in the business, we would go on we go rock climbing and we go mountaineering and take off. And that was our outlet, right? And I'd come
Mhm.
back and my brain would be cleared, but I would still have this stuff rattling around in me that I wasn't working on. I was, like you said, going to the gym and trying to pump it out, as opposed to work on what's really
Yes.
going on. And I'm now 59, and only in the past couple of years, and really in this past year during COVID, I really started working on, this. And I have my morning routine. I get up and I do the same thing. And I'm a monkey brain. I'm all over, but I do this routine every morning. It's about an hour and a half of meditation and stretching. And then I do the cold plunge and all these different things. And it's really, really helped me, because I've been working. I haven't been doing the workout. It's been working more on my mindfulness, my presence, my purpose, and all of that. And it's just,
Mm.
helped. It's helped so much. So I know where you're coming from. And it's like, I think that a lot of people and a lot of listeners too, we go through our lives and we battle as hard as we can when we're young, and our body can take it and our mind, we think, can take it. And we get a bit older and things start happening to us. And, people have heart attacks, and people like it's
Yeah.
serious stuff. It's serious, serious stuff.
Yeah.
And so this is just so, so important. And what you're doing is so important, Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And this is why I've been rolling these workshops out into the schools, for the families, for
Yeah.
parents and children. And it's really about creating that connection with family again as well. I think that we seem to have wandered a little bit off the track.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so one tool is creating a map, a family and a personal map. So that's a mindfulness awareness practice.
Mhm.
So what that looks like is, having a mindful wake up. So when you wake up in the morning, what do? Do you reach for your cell phone straight away? Or can you maybe do something a little different and sit on the edge of your bed, take a
Mhm.
few deep breaths, connect with yourself, check in, how's my body feeling today? Do I need to do 5 minutes of stretching just to sort of just wake up
Yeah.
in a pleasant way?
Yeah.
And then, you know, another part of that as well is, sitting down as a family and creating things together. So creating the awareness around setting intentions for your day. If you have a tough meeting that is going to be happening for work,
Mhm.
well, how can you perhaps think forward to that and how you can handle it in a more pleasant manner?
Mhm.
And then in the evening, sitting down and journaling to yourself and reflecting upon your day, what worked for you and what didn't work so well. It's all a learning process, and not to beat yourself up, and you get another chance the following day if you're lucky enough to wake up. So
Yeah. Yeah. The journaling is really powerful. I haven't
yeah.
actually journaled for a little while. I used to journal all the time with my coach. And I found that, and the journaling was, and I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write, because you just dump what's in your brain, right?
That's right.
And everything you're thinking, all your thoughts, all your, and like your thought, like we were talking, most of them are negative thoughts.
Yes.
So those negative thoughts are coming out on paper, and you're almost like you're discarding them. And
That's
it's
right.
really, really powerful. And I know Reiko, my wife, she does it a lot. And I just haven't for the past probably couple of years. And I really need to get back into journaling. It's a really, really powerful tool to help clear the mind. Yeah. Yeah.
It is. And also canceling one thought out for another. So scientists are actually proving now that in order to cancel out a negative thought, we need to replace it with 5 positive ones.
Right.
So I love creating I am statements. So if you're having a really tough time and you're just feeling totally misaligned and you're feeling stressed and you're feeling anxious, just take the few minutes to close your eyes, take in a few deep breaths, filling your lungs all the way to the top and exhaling every last drop out. And then saying, I am strong, I am courageous, whatever you need at that moment. And then that helps to shift your mindset as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also, it really helps, living like a purposeful life. I think you've mentioned something then in some of the things that you said there.
Yes.
Waking up in the morning and having a purpose, having a purpose. Like I mentioned, I wrote a book about 2 years ago, and I'd kind of gone through a bit of a transition in my life with my business and things. And, you kind of get to the point, what am I going to do now? And there's this void. And then I started writing and then I started doing podcasts and things. And then, I would jump out of bed in the morning. I had a purpose. Like I had this new purposeful way of life, and everything totally changed. And yeah.
And it's creating that purpose. So it's also looking at, what are my strengths? And maybe asking yourself, do you want to learn something new? There's so many amazing online tools now. There's Masterclass, there's if you want to take some, something to do with education, there's Udemy, there's Coursera, and there's some of the best universities in the world offering free, education.
Yeah.
So why not, if there's something that you've always wanted to learn about, why not take this opportunity to do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I know you've been doing some master classes, Dev, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been did a bunch of them. Yeah.
Oh, see, there we go. And did you enjoy them?
I did. I had a great time. Yeah, I did some acting ones. So it was interesting. It was a whole different perspective on acting for sure. It's like a workshop, and then they worked with multi people, and it was kind of all the different depths of being an actor. And I've never really seen it that way, because you go to a class and it's in person and you listen one-on-one, rather than having like a segment of videos, and then like basically they kind of have like a play, and then they kind of break it apart. So yeah, it was really cool actually. And that was all online, and I probably would have never done that. And, if in the circumstances we're in, of course, we had to do something and go to an acting class, because all acting classes were closed for quite a while. So yeah. It's definitely a really cool tool to use.
And that worked for you. So even if it didn't really resonate with you, Devin, at least you've given it a go, right?
For sure.
Right.
Like you don't know until you try. So why not try?
Yeah. And there's a lot of really cool, groups, and, we take part in this fireside chats with our shaman friend. They do it, once a month or once every couple of weeks. And there's, there were 66 people on last time, and they're from New Zealand to all over Europe, and they're all over the world. And it's just a fireside chat, and he does a little talk, and he's here in North Vancouver as well. He goes back and forth to Cusco, but he can't go now. So yeah, and we've taken 11-week like courses with him on ancient Andean wisdom. And
amazing.
It is just fascinating. So there's, like you said, there's so much out there for us to learn, so much more now than there ever have. I mean, it was so difficult. You'd have to register for a class, get in the car, like Devin said, go to a physical brick and mortar school, where now everything is here.
Exactly.
Right.
So, what inspires you? And then I always ask my clients, what does being the best version of yourself look like in all areas? And I think that's a really great starting place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, whether it be a physical goal or an emotional goal, it could be a career goal. There are so many different areas that you can look at financially. What does that look like to you? When you can really drill down and get clear with yourself as to what it is that you want in your life, you're better able then to put the steps in place to being able to achieve that.
Right. And during the quiet of this pandemic,
Yes,
there was that opportunity to, basically almost prepare your roadmap for when you step into the new world, I call it, which
that's right.
it's going to be a new world for all
Yeah,
of us.
it
Right.
is.
So I think it's an exciting time. I think it's an exciting time for our species, for the planet. And I think mindfulness has really grown in the past year, with people really wanting something and then going online and finding and practicing. And it really helps take us to that next level, whatever that next level is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw out 2 challenges for your listeners when
Yes.
it comes to mindfulness. So the first one is, I challenge everyone to go for a walk. Just go for a walk around your neighborhood. And I want it to be a mindful walk. So when you notice those thoughts creeping into your head, just notice them and see them as clouds floating by in the sky. So don't become attached to them. You don't have to reason with them. Just notice them. Just become aware. And then what else can you sort of see and experience in the present moment? Can you see a beautiful flower? Maybe smell that flower. What does it smell like? What does it look like? Really get present with your walk as you go around, and you'll probably start seeing things that you didn't even see before.
Yeah. And reach out and touch a big tree, and look up
Exactly.
it. It's
Yeah,
mind-boggling when we take the time just to
absolutely.
examine the nature around us.
Right.
And in Japan they call it tree bathing. Get out into the
Yes.
woods, into nature, and take it in.
Yeah,
Even if it's for
absolutely.
10 minutes. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's
And
great.
the other one is mindful eating. So when you're eating your next meal, are you sitting down? I would like you to sit down and just focus on eating. So chew a little bit slower. What does your food look like? Really notice it. Don't look at your phone, look at your food, and then recognize, the sounds that the chewing makes, and what does it really taste like? How often do we eat something and then 5 minutes later you think, what did I just eat? Right?
Yeah, that's right.
So just be mindful. Those are 2 things that we do. We eat every day, and we usually go for some sort of a walk somewhere. So just bring a little bit more mindfulness to those 2 situations.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's great. Wow. Any other little tips there? Any questions or anything, Deb? You got any?
Yeah, I got one more for you. So I would like to know if let's say hypothetically, if you step back to, let's say, like a teenage version of yourself running around, not kind of, those years where you're just trying to figure out life, what would be your key points of wisdom that you've acquired over the years, or a key point of wisdom that you've acquired over the years that you would share?
Well, I believe we always have the answers ourselves. So really to trust yourself and trust your intuition would be number 1. And the second one, especially at that age, and I have some clients that I'm working with right now that are around, the 20-ish year old mark,
Yeah.
and just finding what it is that inspires them in their life. And because it's not always easy to find our purpose, but when we can find what we're passionate about, and we look at our skill set of what really, what we're good at, what gifts we bring into this world, then I think we're better able to find our purpose that way.
Right.
Wow, that's really good. I like what you said about the intuition, and I think Star, our good friend Star, I think she said something similar when you asked her. She said, if she'd step back to a younger version of herself, it would be, follow your intuition, take that step, don't be so scared. She wished she had done, those things that she she was scared of, just kind of stepped
Believe
over
in
it.
your heart, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's great. All righty. Well, that's fantastic. Sorry.
No, and I just wanted to say, I think it's really lovely when we can do random acts of kindness for others. And that might be something, that might be something small, or that might be something big. It could be something as easy as holding a door back for somebody that's more elderly. You know what? Look at people in the eye when we walk down the street and say hello. Like, let's create this real sense of interconnectedness in our community again. I think it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it spreads. I mean, once one person does it, 3 people do it, 15 people do it, and the energy ball spreads like it.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And you just never know what someone's going through. So it's really about, rising above it and being like Gandhi says, be the change that you wish to see in the world. And I truly believe that.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. Yeah. Well, on that note, that was actually a good close.
Yeah, but hold on, we didn't do something at the start.
We're gonna do the two truths and a lie.
Let's go right now. We're flipping it.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Oh, okay.
Let's flip it. Let's go right now.
Okay. What we do? Darn it, we got so into it, we forgot the two truths and a lie. Okay, so every show, what we do is or most of the shows, not all of them,
at the beginning, sometimes at the end,
sometimes at the end, sometimes in the middle, sometimes never. We do 2 truths and a lie. So first, Devin and I are going to try and guess which is the lie out of these 3 items here. So, number 1, I'm a certified Thai masseuse, or I'm certified in Thai massage.
I believe it.
I believe that too. That's Thai massage is great. It's really tough. It's it's lots of stretching. I've been skydiving. Okay, number 2. Yeah, I see it. And then I drove an RV for the first time last year. An RV. Okay. What do we?
I think the RV one is a lie, because I think you've driven an RV before last year. Whoa.
That's yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Or
too.
never.
Sure. Yeah, I think so too. Because I think you've been skydiving. You're kind of that personality that's probably been skydiving. And the Thai massage, because what you do, I do. And if you don't, it's fantastic. Thai massage is. I mean, I thought it, like the way they stretch you and beat me up. It's crazy.
How do we do?
So I don't know.
So I am certified in Thai massage. I don't practice it, but pre-COVID, I stretch my clients out at the end of the session. The day I was meant to go skydiving, the clouds rolled in, so it was canceled. So no, I haven't. And last year, I said to my son, okay, we're going to make the best of this bad. What do you want to do? Let's go away for a few days. He said, I'd like to go in an RV. And immediately I thought, oh my goodness, like I've never driven one of these things before. So my son, my dog and we have a French bulldog.
Oh, nice.
We piled into this RV and we went on an expedition and we drove to Tofino.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, nice. Oh, that's, yeah.
It was the best thing ever. It was so fun. So this is what I'm talking about. You don't
except getting on and off the ferry, I bet.
No, it was totally fine.
Oh, was it? Okay. Wow,
you've got to have confidence in yourself. Yes.
See, that's the thing. Pushing out of your comfort zone. It's that little, and then you feel. Look at the way you just feel so good about it, right?
Feel so good.
And you know what? That's one of the probably greatest memories my son will ever remember is us piling into an RV and, totally winging it, not really knowing what we're doing. We don't have to know. You just go and have an adventure and have some fun, right?
Right on. Yeah, exactly. And to Tofino, one of my favorite places on the whole planet.
Oh, so gorgeous over there.
It's just, we're addicted to Tofino. It's
it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, we better be quiet and not tell everybody about it because
more people are terrible there.
It's terrible. Don't go. It rains and it snows.
Always
and
rains.
Yeah, horrible.
Windy roads.
Yeah, terrible. Don't go. All righty. I guess we're going to wrap it up on that, Dev. Hey, that was great.
Yeah. Well, with that, we will wrap it up. Definitely check out Refuel Health and Wellness. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And do you have any last thoughts for us today?
I just want to thank you guys for everything that you're doing, because, you're able to bring people on and put a wee spotlight on different things that people are doing. It's all about raising consciousness and helping other people as well. That's what this is all about.
Mhm.
So
That's
thank
right.
you very much for bringing the positivity that you guys bring into your podcasts and for the difference that you make. And thank you for having me on today. It's been a lot of fun.
No,
Thank
thanks,
you so
Hayley.
much.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
And if you guys would like to know more, we will put links in the description to everything that Hayley's got going on. Thank you so much for stopping in. Have an awesome day, everyone. Thanks for being on the show, Hayley.
Thank you. Bye.